Hello everyone, my name is Lindsay Cyphus. I'm an online tutor for Fresh Start Tuition and I specialise in working with young people who need support other than what a school can provide. So I do work with school-based children, but I also work with children who are home educated, children who possibly can't attend school for a medical illness where they're maybe not well enough or they can't cope with the stress of a full day. And I also work with children with ADHD, anxiety, childhood depression, and dyspraxia. One of the things I find is that at this time of year, a lot of our young people start to get very stressed about life, and the pressure that we put on them for their exams can be too much. And child mental health is at the point of being 1 in 10 children, but around exam time, that ratio becomes about 1 in 5. So it's some sort of a temporary setback which causes big issues to their mental health. We should be treating mental health just as seriously as physical health problems, but very often it is ignored or brushed under the rug, and we end up with lots of young people who cannot cope and who cannot progress to be a well-rounded adult. With the exams, there are lots of things that we can do to help. For some students, we need to say, well, actually, you're not going to be able to take all of your exams in one go in serious cases. And I have students who are taking 1 or 2 exams at a time over a series of several different testing periods. So June of this year, November of this year, January of next year, and June of next year to cover the same number of exams that other students would be able to do in one go. That is an option, but it's not always available in school. Pardon me. So we as professionals and as parents and family members and friends of young people, we need to be able to spot when they're not coping and then be able to offer some sort of solution and support for them through this period. One of the first things that people sometimes notice is food habits. So binge eating is a big one, and it's something that lots of people do. But for young people, it can get to an extreme very quickly. They're buying 6-7 packets of crisps in one go and they're gone. Or they buy a bar of chocolate and it's one of those giant bars and it's eaten in one go, and maybe drinking a bottle of 2 litres of Coke in one go. So it can get to extremes, and it's a sign that they're trying to feed some sort of desire. And in this case, it's controlling what they're eating because they can't control their exams. The other extreme is controlling their eating by limiting it quite severely in some cases. I have a student who will eat 1/3 of a piece of a chicken breast, half a potato and 1 tablespoon of peas, and that is their evening meal at the moment. They feel like if they can control that, they can control a little bit of their life right now when the exams to them feel completely out of control. So as a parent, friend, family member, professional, we need to be observant of these things that are happening and then try to help them. That might be booking an appointment with their GP and letting them have a chat about nutrition, having a general wellness check, and making sure that they understand why it's important to give the appropriate fuel to their body. Another option that some parents have taken is to book a lesson with me specifically about nutrition, and we look at meal plans that they have had, meal plans that they're going to have in the future, and talk about how they are best supporting their body. And this has helped some students, others have paid limited attention. It's worth a try. As a family, you can make meals together or plan meals together. One of my students is quite fussy about their eating. They have a lot of sensory needs, so they help plan their meals with their mum. The mum then does the shopping, and they feel like they're able to participate in family meal times because there are things that they can cope with in that meal. That might be something to consider. If your young person normally participates in a certain amount of exercise, I would say definitely keep it going. It's an endorphin release for our body. It's a way of naturally relaxing, and if you take it away at this point, you're not providing those normal levels that they're receiving, so they can start to feel more down more quickly. They're not getting the physical exercise that their body needs to stay healthy, and everything else runs down. If you are mentally tired, your brain can feel very drained, but if your body still has lots of energy to use up, especially if you've got all that binge eating going on, then you can feel a sort of nervous energy all the time. Some of my students will sit and you'll see them, they kind of fidget or they'll tap or they'll kind of bounce around a little bit. That's quite common to see. And I tell them to get up, move, or go and do something. And one student sits on a gym ball and bounces, and for her that's enough movement to keep her settled and she can focus. I have another who he goes to the trampoline park every morning. They have like a yearly pass or something for the family, and goes and burns off some energy first thing and then can focus on the day. So that taking away some of that nervous fidgeting can really help to settle your brain ready to work. If your young person has a particular event or social occasion that they go to each week, so for me during my exams it was a dance class once a week, I didn't stop it, and I don't recommend that you do stop that sort of thing, because it is some time away from the pressure of you have to revise, you have to focus, you have to get this question correct, and it's time to relax and for their brain to switch off, which also gives their brain the time to percolate all of the information that they have taken in. We rely on the people around us for support, some people more than others. So your family, your friends, the professionals that you interact with. If you take away those interactions at a point where a young person is feeling more stressed, you are limiting their support network rather than enhancing it. So you might be saying you need more time to do revision, but you're also saying you don't get the time that you need with your friends to talk about what's going on or to relax and just be a normal person. So although for some parents they feel like it's a really good idea to be able to do more revision, it's not always the best way forward. However, if your child is spending every night with their friends not doing any revision, then that's not something that should be continuing. They need to have a balance of their studies and interaction with their family and friends, having some food, doing some exercise, and if they are partial to pets, having some pet time. If you say you have a family dog and it is that teenager's responsibility to walk the dog every day, then that's something that's in their routine, it's something they're used to, and if you change it, it can cause stress unduly. So keeping it going, it's only taking a small portion of their day, but it is time where they are away from those pressures and they can enjoy interacting with the dog without having to interact with other human beings that are immediately going to go, how's the exams? Which is what everybody asks at this time of year. Okay, so for me when I'm tutoring, sometimes I can see my students getting really fidgety. I have a student who does this when they get nervous. It gets faster and faster. I can only do it so fast. And when I see that, I know that they're not coping with what we're doing right now. So I can take a step back, and Sizzle comes into the picture. Sizzle, are you there? She's snoozing. It's very common to find her snoozing on my bed, which is just that way. So a little bit of interaction with pets is a good thing. If you are really worried about your child's mental health, then you need to speak to a medical professional, find a GP. If they happen to already have a psychologist, you might want to talk to them. Somewhere like Childmind or Young Minds is a great place to go to get some more information and to get them the support that they need. There are lots of things that can help when they're studying. So I've got an exam practice workbook on Hansby Biology, and the questions are laid out very similar to an exam paper. There's a nice diagram of the eye, very common for them to label that sort of thing, so that's the way it's set out in the exam book. And it comes with a set of questions which are based on examiners' marks and reports about how best to answer each type of question. So if you feel like it might benefit your child, getting them one of them, particularly for the topic that they're really struggling with, they can work on that over the next few weeks and try to fill in any areas that they are feeling concerned about. And if there's a topic that they really can't do, then they know that they can focus their revision on that topic. And that might be then going on to looking at something like the A-level biologist for information, or physics and math tutor, which happen to have a great set of information sheets and resources about each different topic. The other one is BBC Bitesize, which has every subject. It's brilliant. They have lots of learning videos, they have lots of notes, and they have revision test bites where you can test your knowledge on a little short snippet to see how you're getting on. If your child is really anxious, you might find that there are some tools that they need to help them settle. One of the things that has become really obvious is a fidget. So we saw these fidget spinners come in last year, and people find them ridiculous and they find them annoying. But for a student who is anxious, a fidget is a way of releasing some of that emotion in a way that isn't too distracting to those around them. So it's something in your hand that you can fidget with. Sometimes they make noise, but most of the time they don't. And it is a tool to help them manage their anxiety. It is not just a toy. If you have a child who reaches for it and reaches for it and reaches for it and is constantly using it, that is because they need it and they feel it works. If you have a child who says, oh, I desperately want it, and then doesn't use it, or it sits there, or they've lost or they've damaged it, it's because it doesn't actually feel a need. Well, a fidget toy can be great. The quickest way to make one is with some magic sand, or rice or flour, and pour it into a balloon. You'll need to cut the end off the balloon. I've got some balloons here, I think. Yeah, so on your balloon you would cut the top end off and then use a little funnel to fill the end. And then you take another balloon, cut the end off and put it over it in a different direction. And you do that 2 or 3 times so that the hole that you've put the stuff in through has been completely covered. And it's squidging. You can make it quite small so that it just kind of rolls between your finger and thumb, or you can make it quite big, stress ball kind of sized. And it's a great way of relieving pressure. The other thing that we've seen become very popular is a weighted blanket or a gravity blanket, and you can make your own at home. I've shared on my own page somebody's DIY version of making their own that involves some fleece and some backing, and then you fill it with, you can use plastic beads, or if you want to be a bit more environmentally friendly, you can use rice, and you sew it into pockets. They should be about 5 to 20% of your child's weight. More often 10% is about right. And that feeling of pressure and security can help to calm them. If your child is already using one of these, you can request that they use it during their exams. It is an aid which helps them to focus and settle and remain calm enough to do their exam, and therefore it can be allowed in the exam room. That's something that some of my families didn't know about and were worrying about their children not being able to use these. So we explained it to the school, we put it in a letter, and they sent it away to the exam board, who approved it. Even at this late stage, that's still possible. So that's something to consider. Alright, thank you.